This is the brand new Volkswagen ID.4. It might look familiar, and there's a reason for that, because this face is the same one you will have seen on the recently released ID.3. And while it only feels like 5 minutes ago that the ID brand launched with that model, there's already an SUV joining the lineup. And it's easy to see why this is next in line to get the ID treatment. High-riding cars are in fashion at the moment, and with a petrol and diesel ban on the horizon, the ID.4 is the natural next step. It has a lot of the same tech as the ID.3, so it looks promising, and we're here to find out what it's really like. But before we do, don't forget to subscribe to the Driving Electric YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos go live. The ID.4 is a family SUV that's a similar size to VW's own petrol and diesel Tiguan, and its electric rivals include everything from the Citroën EC4 to the MG ZS EV, and at the higher end of the price range, the Ford Mustang Mach-E. This is the high-spec ID.4 First Edition, but more affordable models are on the way. This car has a 77 kilowatt-hour battery and a punchy 201 brake horsepower, but 52 kilowatt-hour versions with less power and reduced range, as well as sporty ID.X models, are also available. It means that depending on the model you pick, the ID.4 has an official range of between 211 and 323 miles, and the car we've got here with the bigger battery is one of the longest range models in the lineup. On our test, we averaged 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which works out at 261 miles of range. When we tested one of the ID.4's rivals, the particularly efficient Kia e-Niro, it managed very close to its claimed range, but that doesn't appear to be the case with the ID.4. Just like the ID.3 range, there's a distinctive line that goes across the front, through the new VW badge and into the LED lights. It creates these sort of eyebrows over the headlights. Like many electric cars, there's no big grille at the front of the car, just this small section down here which helps with aerodynamics. It rides higher than the similar ID.3, and the plastic trims down the side, around the wheel arches and under the doors are another thing that's meant to make it look more like an SUV. Round here you'll notice the rear lights mirror the front lights. There's a line that goes all the way across the back and through the VW badge. It all looks pinched up at the back here, which seems to be a design trend on modern SUVs. We'll leave you to decide whether you like it or not. As mentioned, this first edition model's 77 kilowatt-hour battery offers a theoretical range of more than 300 miles, and thanks to the 125 kilowatt charging, it's fairly quick to top up if you're on a long journey. With an appropriate charger, you can rapid charge the battery from 10 to 80% in just 35 minutes. Recently, we've seen news that the UK's motorway charging network is getting a major upgrade, including contactless payments as standard, so expect this kind of charging to get easier and easier. You also get a 3-year subscription to the We Connect Plus service with the ID.4, which gives you access to 150,000 charging points at cheaper rates. If you charge up at home using a 7.4 kilowatt wall box, which is what most owners will do, then it takes just over 12 hours for a full charge. Remember that a charge results in hundreds of miles of range, so for most commuting, it should take a lot less time than that. The 52 kilowatt-hour models can charge at a maximum rate of only 100 kilowatts, but the smaller battery means they're quicker to refill. Up front, you'll notice the ID.4 has a very similar interior to other VW models in recent years, including the latest Golf. And that's to say there aren't very many buttons in here. It's all done on this big touchscreen display, even things like the heated seats and the aircon controls. It takes a bit of getting used to because you'll never be able to just reach out and feel where a button is without looking, so it doesn't quite get familiar. It's something that some manufacturers have actually gone back on. If you look at the new Citroën EC4, which has proper buttons for the aircon controls, while in previous Citroëns it's all been confined to the screen. If you ignore this caveat though, then the screen is pretty responsive, even if the built-in menus are a bit confusing. Of course, you can navigate around all that by using the standard Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. The materials in here are generally okay, but for a £40,000 car, we'd expect more. It's clear you're paying for the powertrain and that expensive electric-specific platform rather than a truly sumptuous interior. It can't quite compete with the Mustang Mach-E in that respect. As the ID.4 was designed to be electric at the start, VW didn't need to worry about where to put an engine or an exhaust pipe. This means there's more room inside than something like the Tiguan. It has a 543-litre boot which opens up to 1,655 litres with the rear seats folded, making it more practical than the Mustang. And since there's no transmission tunnel in the back, you can actually fit 3 people pretty easily on this rear bench. The small rear windows mean it's a little bit dark in here, so it feels slightly more cramped than it actually is. But headroom is good as you sit relatively high in the back. You can see out of the windscreen easily, and that can help avoid car sickness, which is good news for passengers in the ID.4. Which brings us on to what this electric SUV is like on the move. And like many of its rivals, performance is impressive, but the ID.4 doesn't overdo things. You could pay £10,000 or £20,000 more for a Volvo with twice the power, but in reality, the ID.4 proves you don't need it. It's more subtle than some electric cars, so you don't get that feeling of rapid acceleration like you would in a Tesla Model 3, for example. It will go 0 to 62 miles per hour in 8.5 seconds, which is quick for a family SUV. It's quite heavy-minded, and all that weight means it's not very sporty to drive. It is better than you might expect, however, as all that bulk is low down in the car, so there's not much body roll in corners. The steering is light, which means it's nice and easy to drive. It's comfortable too, even on this car's 20-inch alloys. In fact, we're really impressed with the way the ID.4 deals with bumps and potholes in the road, and that definitely gets a big thumbs up from us. You can slow the car by simply lifting off the accelerator, but the regenerative brakes aren't as strong as the setup we've seen in some other cars. It won't bring you to a total stop, so for example, you'll still have to use the brakes quite a bit, even with the settings turned up to the max. The first edition model, which is the only car available at launch, comes with loads of standard kit, including 20-inch alloy wheels and LED lights with that distinctive light signature. In the cabin, it gets a 10-inch touchscreen sat-nav that includes Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, plus dual-zone climate control, a reversing camera and a load of safety kit. City, Style, Life, Family and Max trims are all now available, and a full rundown of specs are available on our website at DrivingElectric.com. But remember, as of March 2021, only those cars costing less than £35,000 are eligible for the government's plug-in car grant. The ID.4 is a comfortable, practical and relaxing electric car that brings so much of what's good about the ID.3 while also having more space inside. Whether you like the SUV look or not is up to you, but for many it'll offer even more appeal than its sister model. The ID.4 had better watch out for the Skoda Enyaq though, as that model looks to offer a lot of the same tech but for less money. Head to DrivingElectric.com for all the latest electric car advice, news and reviews, and check us out on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the Driving Electric YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified when a new video goes live.